What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we're going over the USS Kidd. Now, just keep in mind, this is under work in progress. It's actually the second time we've seen this ship under the work in progress tag, so not everything is finalized. So just keep that in mind as we go on. Things could change before the ship is fully released. So, the USS Kidd is a USN destroyer at Tier 8, and you may say, hey, that ship looks kind of awfully familiar. It's because it's actually a Fletcher class or very very close to a Fletcher. So you're kind of running a tier 9 destroyer in tier 8 matchmaking. Now, of course, if you've been playing lots of tier 8 matchmaking, you're basically in tier 9 matchmaking because you're always bottom tiered. At least that's what it seems like. But just comparing it to other tier 8 destroyers, you're basically a tier 9 at tier 8, which is amazing. The only drawback, in my opinion, for this ship is its torpedoes, but the upside of this ship is that it is a monster and amazing at hunting down other destroyers, especially at its tier, and it can even then up tier very well. Probably one of the best up tiering destroyers in my opinion. Now, the USS Kidd, for its tier, we're going to basically compare it to the Benson, which is the tier 8 counterpart for this. So, the USS Kidd is rocking 16,700 life, one of the highest life pools, and this is without survivability expert. So, a massive, massive health pool for this ship. Armor is that Fletcher, it has Fletcher guns, which is amazing. The Fletcher is known as being one of the stronger tier 9s. You know, people will take the Fletcher even over the Gearing because of its agility and its guns are so strong. And the Fletcher is known as being like just overall one of the stronger destroyers at tier 9. Now, I love the Z-46, the German destroyer, but it can have its potential with having a little bit weaker HE when it comes to this ship and not being quite as agile. But really, 5 strong guns at this tier. You're right there with the Benson, unless you're running the Sea Hall, which takes it down to 4 guns. But decent range as well. This is without AFT or anything like that too. So you actually are going to be outranging the Benson at tier 8, and you're not quite as far as the Fletcher. Now, torpedo tubes. Now, basically, you are a Fletcher that has lost or torpedo tube. That's basically what this ship is. And just the torpedoes, though, are Benson torps. They're not Fletcher torps. So 9.2 kilometers, 55 knots. So not the fastest torpedoes, but still very, very effective. And 16,633 damage max roll on these ships. So no torpedo reload or anything like that. So you only have one torpedo. That's basically the downside on this ship. This ship really thrives on being in a high DD game. When you're low on DDs and kind of late game, you kind of have to turn into a gunboat a little bit more than you would, let's say, like the Benson. We could rely a little bit more on your torpedoes. One of the biggest selling points for this ship is its ability to just be an AA monster. Big, big, big damage. I ran a full AA build on this ship and absolutely trolled the sky against, I think it was a Shokaku. I think I got like 30 plane kills or something like that. So you can absolutely run this ship as a full AA build, be very, very effective. If you didn't see my video on the AA build for the Sims, I ran that captain. I'll put a link down below if you guys want to check out that video as well. A full AA kind of troll build for this ship. I'm running AFT, BFT, manual AA, and you can absolutely just shred planes, even going up to tier 10, because your AA is going to be very, very good. But just as it is right now, just the ship itself, and I believe I'm just running the one module when it comes to, yeah, just a little bit higher AA. I mean, 54 damage at 6 kilometers, that's without AFT. I mean, you're getting really, really good damage for a destroyer. So playing that specific role, being an anti-DD, you can maybe drop A if you want to run a good, well-balanced division of a battleship, cruiser, destroyer. You could drop maybe like a high A cruiser for maybe a lower A cruiser that can do a bit more damage, because you know you have that destroyer to kind of help you out. Pretty dang fast for a tier 9 destroyer as well, with 38 knots. 620 turning radius, so that is going to be pretty competitive. It's a little bit slower than the Fletcher, but not too bad. A little bit faster though, so that's mainly the reason the rudder shift is going to be just a tiny bit slower, but you're right there with competitive, and this is without a concealment captain, so 6.4, and you're right there with the Benson, Fletcher, everything. So your ability to basically up tier is really good. Now some of the ability to run AA on this ship, as well as having the heal, these are going to basically set this thing apart. So not only do you have the insane smoke, you have a heal. You're one of, I think, 2 destroyers. I think this is in the cab, or basically the only ones that can run heals. So you have a heal. You're a Fletcher at tier a Fletcher at tier 8 that has a heal. So you're going to smash every tier 8 destroyer 1v1. Be able to heal the majority of your damage. and a decent amount of your damage. Basically, give you, I was seeing about 2 or 3 thousand per heal, so you're gonna give yourself about 5 to 6 thousand. I mean, maybe 5 to 9 thousand extra life when it comes to this, depending on how good of what kind of damage you took, and as well as having the AAA consumable. This is without a superintendent captain, which will give you 4, which could potentially give you, who knows, 12,000 extra life when it comes to this ship. That adds up as a destroyer. So if you've ever played against a cab, it can be very annoying, very effective, because all of a sudden they come back, they have more life, and it's kept me alive in this ship. As well as having this really, really strong USN smoke. Now for upgrades, this is what I'm running, since I do run the full kind of AA build on this, and just nice to have. I ran Auxiliary Armament 1, since they're relatively easy to knock out. I kept the AA mods as strong as possible, adding the extra range. I actually ran the extra, I feel like none of this was really needed since I run Last Stand, and the engine boost wasn't really worth it. I ran the longer AA consumable, and it helped out. It was actually quite nice. Steering gears, want to avoid as many torps as possible, and then of course concealment. Now, as I said, I have been running a full AA captain, and I don't run it all the time. I think this is a better balanced build when it comes to this ship. This is just better to run overall. Of course, the AA spec is very, very strong against CVs, but if there aren't any CVs, then you're almost kind of wasting some points with stuff like AFT and manual AA. But this is, I think, an overall balance. I think it's pretty easy to get, or it's easier since the USN DD line has been around for so long, and the Sims has been around for so long, and stuff like that. So I think it's more possible to get a 19-point USN captain. So this is what this build is kind of based around. It's going to use all 19 points. You can probably get it at a 17 as well if you want to, and you can even drop down some of these. But when I play this ship, I play it like a DD hunter. Basically, what you want to do is, because you have that bigger health pool, you have the heal, you have the guns, you have all this to kind of fight the DDs, and then get your health back, and then continue to fight and continue to fight. So priority target, I think, is mandatory at number 1. Picking up Last Stand for any destroyer, honestly. I think picking up Superintendent is very important to pick up that extra heal over Survivability Expert. I think it's just more important just to grab this. You'll get more health overall with that 1 probably extra heal than you will getting this extra little bit of life. It'd actually be pretty close in the long run, but the extra heals is very, very solid. Grabbing concealment first at 10 points, and then what I like to run on this, and I know it's kind of a meme captain perk, either it's, some people see it as completely OP, some people see it as useless. I find for this kind of ship, because it doesn't have sonar like a Z46 would, I find radio location very strong, letting you know where those destroyers are, hunting them down and taking them out. You want to take the enemy destroyers out. This is the role of this ship. Since you have the lackluster torps with only having 1 torpedo load, you need to take out the DDs, help your team out as much as possible, contest those caps, and basically get your team the win. So I picked up radio location at 14, going back at 17, grabbing survivability expert, and then the frosting on the cake is, of course, always Adrenaline Rush, picking that up at 19. So this is a pretty decent 17-point captain, and then Adrenaline Rush is just a bonus. So the role of the Kidd is going to be hunting down destroyers and killing, using that stronger health pool at tier 8, that bigger health pool at tier 8, using that heal, using those guns, and using kind of everything to give yourself that advantage to then give your team that advantage. If you've ever played a game where the enemy team didn't have destroyers or your team didn't have destroyers, it's really an uphill battle. Really, in this game, the DDs are kind of the trunk of the tree. If you take out the DDs, the whole team will then have a harder time and will then kind of fall as they go. So this is an awesome job at going down, hunting destroyers, taking them out of the game, and really kind of letting your team kind of do the rest of the work. Since you have less torpedoes with only 1 torp set every, just under 2 minutes, you then don't have the ability to continuously keep pumping out damage. Now you do have the extra life, so you can, extra life and good guns, so you do have the ability to be a bit more aggressive with opening up on things, especially if they're relatively low, and you can do some good damage, 2, 3, 4K salvo, depending on where you're aiming and what you're against, especially against a PG like this. So if he was down to maybe 5,000 or 6,000 life, I would easily open up on him. No problem with that, since even if I take a 2, 3K salvo here and there, it's not that big of a deal. But the main role of this ship, and I love kind of role-specific ships like this, is going out and doing your job and then your team. So I could see the ship having a high win percentage, but overall kind of lower damage. And what I mean by that is with your lack of kind of punch power with the torpedoes, but your ability to really take out such a important role specific ship like the destroyers, taking out the entire class. And it looks like we're gonna have a problem with the tracers on this one, as the World of Warships replays is gonna be amazing. But being able to kind of go out, destroy their whole class of DDs. Like I said, this is really going to shine if there's a lot of destroyers. 3, 4, 5 destroyers in a game. That's when the ship is really going to shine, because you're going to be able to go out, do that fight, put damage in on the destroyers, get that caps for your team, stuff like that, and then go out and be able to just control the cap and destroyers. So that is going to be the role of this ship. You know, being able to consistently pump out damage with torpedoes just really isn't going to be there, since you only have the one torp. But they still hit hard if you get a torp hit every once in a while. This game, I don't even think you get a torp hit, but you can then do it. So boom, taking out a Benson. They're down to 1 destroyer right now, and I don't even think he's on this side. But really being able to just take that out, and the whole role of that is why the ship is going strong. Also being able to be this anti-AA platform that can really help your team. And there's the other destroyer as well. And I tried to set up here against the Fiji. Now I know I'm in sonar, but I still smoked up. I was just hoping that maybe this guy would go far enough away, then I would still be in smoke, since he is kind of room. So that's the one. But taking out 2 Bensons and still being, as you can see, I have a little bit of heal right there, not too much. I try to hold the heal for as long as possible, so I have the ability to kind of get as much out of those heals, because it's very important. So there we go, we're out of the sonar range and able to keep pumping damage. It's Benson, and it's kind of funny. Some people didn't actually like this ship, but I did. I love this ship. I love USN DD. Benson's one of my favorite. The Fletcher is amazing. One of my favorite lines in this entire game, because of how strong they are, just how good they are at being anti-DD. Because the DD class is so important. It's so important because it's such a map controlling class, and it's such a I don't even know the right way to. It's such a integral part of this game, and if you have good destroyers, you have a really good advantage. I think besides CVs, if you have, I think kind of the importance of classes is going to be like CVs, destroyers, where there's kind of like a skill gap. Definitely CVs are number 1, destroyers probably number 2, and then get into maybe like cruisers, because they're so fragile, and then probably battleships last. So having really good destroyers is going to just give you this massive advantage to just kind of win the games. So but as you can see right here, you kind of have to, I wouldn't quite say Russian level gunboat, but you do kind of have to be a bit more gunboaty than you would, but you have the arcs of these shells to kind of use a lot of environment as your advantage. And as you can see right here, guys, don't be these battleships. Look how perfectly lined up these guys are. So this is one of the reasons why this game was so close. But don't be these battleships. Don't get that far away, especially these 2 guys. They're so far away, and they're all full of life. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. They made this this game so much harder than it had to be. But so right now we took out that little bit of an edge on these guys. We took out one of the destroyers. They took out one of ours, but we had 3 versus their 2, and we did. So pushing in, putting damage on these guys, really important. And now I'm going to push this Benson, because if I take out him, then I kind of just run the table with these guys, because I'll be the only DD left besides the other DD on our team. And so it's going to be 2-1, kind of a GG easy, as long as the Chappie's going to be the main thing. So we're going to need a little bit of help on him. But we'll take out this Benson. No camo tends to mean we won't have to worry about too much when it comes to this guy. And take him down right here. So down he goes. So 2 kills already. Relatively low damage. But still, our 2 kills are 2 Bensons. They're only destroyers. So this thing has 100% done its job so far. So you are going to be a little bit more reliant on your team kind of against other cruisers and stuff like that, kind of more than you would, let's say, in in another ship. But with its ability to just kind of take out that whole roll and survive through that, you know, even though we had a pretty good setup right here, we had the potential of taking. As you can see it later too, the heals kind of add up, and I think our New Orleans right here gets kind of destroyed. I don't quite remember exactly how this, because I think the guy's off to the right there. And but anyways, so this ship to me is a joy for me because I love playing the game like this. I love playing the game and the fact that, and as you can see right here, this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Your kind of ability to just really open up on stuff because your guns hit so hard and you can be a bit more aggressive is, I don't really care. You know, some people will kind of run from this. Me, I took that damage. I can heal about half of it back. And I just have the ability to kind of just survive through this and just take him down. So he's going to go down. And one of the main things too is I'm kind of in a really weird spot right now with this Nelson. And the Nelson has kind of decent secondaries when you get up close. So I was in a really bad pinch right here. So we forced the fire on him. And I figured I would just go 100% man mode on this guy and try to do what I could. And so as you can see right here is he hit me pretty hard right here. So the Nelson got lucky. But I'm going to use those Fletcher guns and see what I could do. I thought maybe I would just die right here. And since I didn't have the torpedoes up, so what I did is I used my training, years of training against as a USN destroyer, and hit the higher armor belt that close with those calibers. Chunked out 3K. Chunked out another 3K. And take out the Nelson. Nothing like a brawling USN destroyer, huh? And I knew I could do that. I would have been dead basically without since I used the heal during that. I would have been dead in another destroyer. So I knew I could have a little bit more health and be a little bit more aggressive because I was in the ship. I knew I could do it. And there's the chapter right there. But my whole focus is took out the destroyers. Gonna start focusing on caps. I need caps. Need to start working on them. Don't really have too much faith in my team because kind of their placement, you know. I have my div mate, so I trust him. The Mahan is consistent. You guys can't see it because of the replays a little messed up, so his shells aren't going, but he was shooting AP consistently at a chappy, so he's gonna go down. And so yeah, we have guys that are max range. We just lost our key, which is now this game went from kind of an easy win, took out their stuff, to now okay, we got to play very, very specific and very, very good the rest of this game. We have a radar and cruiser still coming. We have a lot of stuff kind of going. Our Hipper is getting picked on by the Bismarck, but maybe he can get that trade. At least we got to hope. And of course, we have a NorCal on our team. Don't know if he can hit anything, but since, you know, 2 of the cruisers are still there, we might have the ability maybe one-shot somebody and take them out of the game. So that's what we're kind of hoping for, either the Otago. So the Hipper does get the Bismarck, which is nice. But we have this problem of the radar ship that is the Chappie. Now the Chappie is kind of, and I'm trying to get them to focus the Chappie as much as possible. Our Hipper is going to be going down as well. Just too many things going to focus on. He's probably continuously shooting, so not in dark. And this, at this point, is just survival of the fittest. But since we do have Destroyer, that's kind of our advantage. And so I'm trying to talk to my guys. But really, the Chappie is the most important part of this, taking out these 2 guys. But the Otago, if they take out the Otago, I'm cool. Do whatever you got to do. So down goes our Hipper. And this is where, this kind of late game is where the ship is going a little weak. I think this is the only time the ship's going to be weak. And really, if we had a couple more competent battleships when it came to this game, because most of our guys just kind of were at max range and didn't really do too much, I felt like this game would have been over a little bit. But this ship does a really good job at taking out enemy DDs. But this is kind of the weakness of, okay, late game, I'm going against cruisers, I'm going against other battleships. If I post up and find a nice little angle, then I'll be okay and can kind of rain down USN HE fire. But going against cruisers is going to be kind of your weak spot. So being very careful with those. And that's going to be the thing, giving your team the upper hand and giving that cap control. As I said, I think this ship will overall have a kind of lower damage when it comes to this. But I think overall it'll have a pretty high win rate because you're just giving your team basically the chance to then not have to worry about torpedoes or not have to worry about destroyers. So, because as you can see right now, we have 46k, which is pretty good damage, honestly, for a tier 8 destroyer. It's pretty damn good damage, and it's all guns. So it's all guns, and I mean, no torpedoes. Now there were a couple games. I think my highest damage in the few games that I've played with the kids so far is maybe high 70s, high 80s, and you will get those games where you are hitting your torps here and there. But honestly, you're not going to get those big 10, 20, or 20, 10, 12, 15 torp hits as maybe you could in like the Z46. But the Z46 isn't going to be able to survive like the situation I was in against the Sin, because you do those extra heals and you'd be dead already. Basically, I've gotten an extra 5-some K, if not more, from my heals. So that's literally the only reason I'm still alive. So we have 3 caps right here, and we're really hoping our North Cal is sailing broadside against their North Cal. So not ever a good situation. And of course, I'm trying to point out to these guys, it's always so interesting to see the target selection on a lot of people. As our NorCal, instead of shooting at the Otago that has 9,400 life, he shoots at the NorCal that is almost full life. So instead of getting a pretty easy kill, so I figured I need to kind of help these guys kill this guy, and kind of help burn him down because they're just gonna get destroyed. Luckily, he did get that smash of a hit right there, which is amazing, but I think the NorCal gets him in the salvo, or he gets him pretty close, because I think he's just sailing broadside. So I think he goes down right here. I know he goes down pretty soon. Yeah, he goes down right there. So he was just sailing broadside against him. We do have a Nagato that's going to keep him spotted, and luckily this guy repaired, so I can do some good damage, because you still are a Fletcher. Fletcher has amazing guns. So boom. Okay, we did get a torpedo hit. It's not going to happen very often, but when it does, it's just a nice little cherry on top of them. So, a Nagato versus Otago should be a pretty easy victory for Nagato, but we're gonna sadly see as another one of our battleships, he's just gonna slowly perish to the cruiser HE, because I don't think he did anything, and I didn't know if he went AFK or what, but he definitely had some brutal battleships in this. But that's going to happen. So I thought maybe I could just spot this Otago, help this guy out. Although I do have to play very careful because I don't know where that Chappie is. Luckily, the Chappie didn't go to C cap and go then to A cap. If he did that, we probably would have lost. And I don't even know if he was like fully upgraded, because I don't think I ever got. So one, I had to be very careful against this Otago. I figured I would just keep him spotted for our Nagato, and eventually in 2 or 3 salvos do 9k damage to him. But as you can see, every time we look back, he has less and less life, and the Otago has gained life since we've seen him. So I think our Nagato get about 1,000 damage. So man, so instantly right here, I figured that now was the time to run and try to do what I can. I don't want to get spotted by this plane. I don't know where that Chappie is, and I'm kind of freaking out. So there's the Chappie. So luckily the Chappie's heading south. Again, if he would have gone that way, and I turned to my right here because of the plane and because of the potential radar of the Chappie. Luckily this Chappie did not play this. If he was a bit more aggressive, if I were him, if I were this Chappie in this situation, I would have basically gone into B cap, cap B, and then aimed this way, and then guaranteed I probably would have been killed right here, because he would have been able to just force in and just kind of pinched us, and he would have had a really good broadside. He went way south. Don't know why. Maybe he thought I was going to try to get last cap. So I can basically just like kite this guy away and not have to worry about it. One, the plane is going to be kind of annoying. I could have tried to shoot it down, but I figured if I can just get far enough away, I won't have to worry about it. The Otago does have good accuracy, so I figured I would just kind of run and kind of get in, just get away. So the Otago was, of course, faster than I thought he was. But anyways, we have 4 kills so far, 1 torpid, 2 solo base caps, 2 assisted base caps, and that's the kind, and 4 kills. So that's what you were going to see this ship do on a consistent basis. You're going to have, I think, a lot of kills, kind of lower damage, lots of base caps, and mainly gun damage. How you're going to be seeing your damage. I just think that's how you're going to be able to do it. I wish there was a few more ships alive, and I could have got the solo warrior. Kind of nice. And that's the strength of the ship, guys. The ship's gonna be so much fun. I think the ship is an easy buy, especially because tier 8, because of its ability to up tier as well. I think the Benson up tiers very, very well anyways because of its low detection. This is a very low detection, 5.8 with the concealment captain, and just its guns. You're gonna be going up against, you know, Gearings, up against Shimas, up against, you know, other things, you know, the German ships, and its ability to heal and its ability to get that little extra life and give you that boost to just go against the destroyer here, recover a little bit of life, go against another destroyer here, get a little bit of life, and then just basically stretch your life pool out as long as you can, and just make you that efficient destroyer killer. And that basically that destroyer that can go out and really give your team the advantage and the ability to just then win. So that's it for this game, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Work in progress, Kidd. Looking forward to the ship going live, guys, and I hope you guys are as well. But that is it for me, guys. Remember, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.